What's up, everybody? Hello, everybody. It's Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and you're watching PoliTarology. And I'm here with my sister Cleo and with Kathy Biehl. And yeah, they had that thing today. So,
What thing was that?
They got a whole bunch of ex-presidents together in a round room, and they said a bunch of stuff. And at the end, they had like 50,000 religious leaders bless them. And yeah, that was the thing.
Oh, okay.
That's what I watched today. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a little bit stunned at the way things fell out. Cleo, why don't you talk? I don't know what to say.
You know, we did think it was probably going to go a different way, but I feel like the energy shifted probably a couple of weeks ago, and they just didn't have the necessary information to make the kind of changes we'd like to have seen. I saw it just that's just what happened, and I just, you know, I gotta think that for sure there's a reason for all this. I'm not sure what to say about how I mean, that's what I think happened. Okay, because I think I saw a bunch of changes are happening, but then all of a sudden, zip, just like it was like a light switch. You know, I kept saying things could change on a dime. I wish I quit saying crap like that, because it can change on a dime, but I didn't expect it to change in their favor. Not in our, you know, I wanted it to change in our favor, but it didn't work. So,
yeah. So how about you, Kathy? What do you have to?
I'm weirdly calm. My attitude has remained the same, and everybody that I have checked with continues to be incredibly calm. I did a reading earlier today, and the tower was the significator for today's event. That's not, and that was for the person in the middle of it, not for us. I think the continuing focus on this individual is going to end up not being a good and pleasant thing for him. And honestly, my sense is that this is not going to turn into a protracted hellscape, that there will be a lot of things really quickly, and we've certainly seen some already, that are extremely damaging to groups of individuals. But I will show you, I have this weird deck called the Deck of Character, and I pulled it about the event this morning, and I had elves, an airplane, and the key. And this to me said, the key is coming, lots of little helpers, the key's coming from overseas, which many of us have been saying for a long, long time.
Yeah. I also got the tower this morning too. Yeah.
It just doesn't come in time. It just, the timing on it. It just, we hoped that it was coming by today, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Oh no.
And my starting place is always astrology, and we're in the middle of a Mars retrograde, which is going back over things that happened late in October, when a number of things happened that are kind of suspicious. And also when the mall was filled with thousands and thousands of people watching Kamala, and that happened again on Saturday when the March hit. And if you look at the photos, it's mind-boggling. Mars will go back to this spot in March, and he'll be sitting. At any rate, the process is going to continue to go on. And once we get into March and April, a certain person's aspects are really, really, really horrible and uncomfortable. and bringing a lot of chickens home to roost, and somebody else's, Kamala's aspects, get beautiful and wonderful, and Jupiter goes across her north node, meaning that she starts to do what her life purpose is. I don't know how it's going to happen. She may have gone back to LA. She's gone back to her home right now, but watch for her resurfacing in some really powerful and noticeable way in the very close future. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Well, somebody says here that Cleo, I think they did have the information and tired of the rationalizations. I don't blame you, but you know what I'm talking about is the timing on this. I think the information is still out there, just like Kathy just said. It's coming from overseas, and I'm not really trying to rationalize it. I'm trying to think of, why did I get one thing and another thing happened? I guess that's what I'm trying. I guess that is rationalizing. Sorry. But anyway, I think that they just didn't have enough. They needed some really precise information that led to Trump, and they couldn't find it yet.
Yeah, that's really the only explanation, because all of us, including probably the Biden administration, were highly suspicious of the outcome of the election and highly suspicious of Musk's involvement, as well as, Trump's acquiescence to everything that was going on, just like he was in 2016 and 2020. But proving these things, I guess, is really what they were hanging their hats on. And so from almost the date of the election, what we have been saying is that it was not going to be it wasn't going to be a question of recounting votes or figuring out that the machines were wrong or that they did something nefarious. It was really going to have to do with some assistance from overseas. And I still feel that very, very strongly. I think what I'm feeling today is a little trepidatious about his actual administration taking action in this country, but I don't feel like it is going to be a long-term thing at all. I really feel like he'll be challenged at every step. I hope with the Democrats in Congress. I think he'll try to sidestep Congress as much as possible. I'm really kind of just feeling like I have to grin and bear it for his cabinet appointments, because those people are very dangerous. But I feel all along that NATO and the ICC, Poland, Germany, Romania, Georgia, for some reason, Spain keeps coming to mind too. And some South American countries too. I feel like they are all going to contribute to the information pot and help out with the information, but especially I think Germany, Poland, and whatever NATO has. I think those parties are going to be really, really important.
Well, I think they will prove that there's election interference across the world, but I don't think that that information has come into the point for the United States to prove that it's Trump or Elon Musk or and the Russia connect. I don't think they have all their ducks in a row on that particular thing. And by the way, somebody wrote, Ashley W. wrote, well, Trump gave it away. They need to look at Pennsylvania. Now, we were just talking about this before we went on, that, that he did come out and apparently several times between yesterday and today has said that, Elon knew how to do this. He knew how to screw up votes. He knew how to rig the election.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody's heard it. They're talking.
Oh yeah, we all heard it. He kind of went on and on about it at the inauguration. I mean, he kind of said it over and over again. Well, yeah, I'm sure that Pennsylvania will be very instructive. But I think they have to get proof from these other countries, because I think it's
I'm telling you
involved.
that I've always thought that finding the proof of what was done with the Starlink and the rigged election is buried so deep.
Well, no, not the technology.
Not the
It's
technology,
the money.
but
It's
the
the
proof.
money. They're
Well,
going to find it through
there's
the
a lot of
money.
money involved, but if you don't have the documentation that proves it, you're screwed. So
No, but they'll have the documentation with the money being exchanged, the dates that the money is exchanged. Because they didn't just do this in the United States. They did this in a lot of different countries.
okay.
So that's what I think is going to prove it. And that's where I think it's going to go. It might be, though, interesting to look at Pennsylvania as a kind of a test case, because that case, maybe they can figure out a few more of the nuts and bolts of what was going on. And maybe that would help NATO and the other countries to connect their dots. I think there's going to be a coordinated thing here. Although I don't know, they're not going to get much help from our DOJ now that it's, Mr. T at the helm is.
Well, and the other thing,
Well,
oh, go ahead, Kathy.
I was just going to say, for it to work, it has to come from outside our country, because otherwise it looks like it's a political hack. And too many people are seeing it coming from somewhere else. And that fits, and that would explain, it makes no sense logically how calm I feel. I did have the sense last night that things were building in a certain direction. I actually said stuff to a neighbor who now thinks I'm completely crazy. I usually keep a pretty low profile about these things, but I completely wrecked somebody's opinion of me. That's just fine. But a simplistic way of looking at it is this: the divine feminine is irrevocably on the rise. And if you look at what's going on astrologically, there are, and in today's chart, Black Moon Lilith and Eris were both involved. The moon was in Libra, opposite Chiron in Aries. So there's a big male, female, old ways, new ways. And I don't see this sticking. And some people are saying, oh, he'll be in for 2 years. I don't see it being that long. I personally will not be surprised if it's in a few months, honestly, which people go, oh, no, you can't mean that. But the astrology is really bad. And more importantly, and I've been saying this every place I have a chance, every reading I have done for people for this year has been incredibly empowering and positive. It hasn't indicated, oh my God, your finances are about to go through the floor. It hasn't indicated, oh, you're going to have to hide, or you're living under some horrific fascist setup. No, none of it.
Same here.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I get a very, very positive future. Now, everybody is wondering, maybe not everybody feels this way, but a lot of us feel very calm today when we should be just like, oh my God, the sky is falling. So does anybody have a clue why we're feeling calm?
Because I think this is ultimately insignificant in the scheme of things. I don't think our democracy has died at all.
But from here on out, it's clear that it's not going to change due to a court case, because that case won't be allowed. It's not going to change due to any kind of investigation on voting machines, because that won't be allowed. It's not going to change due to any recount, because that ship has sailed. So it has to be affected by forces outside of our country. And that's very much possible. That's very much possible, I think. And sorry to give false hope, but that's what I thought from the very beginning, that this was going to be affected from the world stage and then come down here.
Well, this didn't it look kind of like Trump's thinking has gotten even weirder as of today? I mean, he was slurring words and,
United States.
Huh?
United States.
Yeah.
That's what he said. United States. He really tripped on that one.
Yeah, he was having trouble speaking. Did he ever smile? Now, back
No.
in 2016, he was just
and very flat affect and just reading the teleprompter. But they had to have pumped him up. They had to have given him a blood transfusion and a big pharmaceutical cocktail just to get him to that point. So the fact that he slurred any words and had any kind of mispronunciations with all that going on just kind of shows how bad he is in general. I just worry for if Kamala finally does go into the White House, say by March or April, what's it going to smell like?
Oh, that's the least of the things.
Yeah, really. That is the least.
Okay. I just wanted to lighten the mood a little bit. It's so awful. And will they just give Mark Rutte an honorary key to the Lincoln bedroom? I mean, yes, thank you, because I'm sure he's going to be a big part of this. I mean, they do have a lot of these reports. Canada's report's going to be coming out within the next 10 days. And think about the relationship between Justin Trudeau and Mr. T. It's not a good relationship. It's a pretty fraught relationship. So I don't think he'll have any problem handing all of that information over to NATO and the ICC. And by the way, the ICC, I mean, I think it's pretty significant that there's been any kind of connection or link to the ICC in all of this. So there must be something afoot for some kind of arrest or warrant or something. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Like I said, the big thing that I thought was going to change the election today hasn't come yet. So whatever that is, I feel like it is coming fairly soon, like Kathy said, and a lot of people have talked about the month of March, going way back to
the month of March
election.
Yeah,
that the month of March had something going on there. But
I thought for the longest time, the March would be the date, but I was thinking that somehow Biden or Kamala would stay in as acting president due to some kind of act of war or something like that, and that in March then all the information would come out. Clearly that's not going to happen. So I don't know. Do you guys want to do any cards or no?
Well, yeah, but since you mentioned act of war, let me just put on the table. NATO's been rearranging and speaking more and more and more about various actions that Russia has been taking, and it's been building. And in another collaboration, I've been looking at the very strong probability of NATO going on a strike against Russia. And if and all members of NATO kind of have to take part in it. So what happens if a short war breaks out? And I mean, that puts somebody in a really tough position.
Yeah, because you're talking about T. You're talking about T, puts him in a tough position. Yeah, absolutely. And didn't NATO, I'm going to Google this. I believe that in some of their latest documentation that they redefined what an act of war was, or what war was, or something.
Oh yeah, and there's the telecommunications part of it, election interference is part of it, but there've been all these things with cables in the Baltic. What are you saying?
I tried to click on the NATO thing and it says, sorry, you have been blocked. You are unable to access act.nato. Okay, let me just try plain old NATO. Maybe that was wrong. Yeah, that's NATO's website. Why can I not go to NATO's website? Yeah. Can't go to NATO's website.
Weird.
NATO's homepage, I got on.
You did?
NATO.int.
Yeah.
You can't get on?
Let me see. Yeah, I can get onto that. It's weird. I couldn't get into that other thing. Okay, never mind. I'm a little bit on edge. Okay. I guess I'm not as calm as you guys. But yeah, so they've really looked at, what constitutes an act of war, and that these things have all been happening since July. He's been taking Mark Rutte's been taking these very strong steps to not only redefine things like what is war and what is an act of war according to NATO, but also just how they've restructured their whole organization. They've moved things around. They've been much more involved with different countries in Europe as far as assessing the inventory of their military. Like they really are gearing up. They're gearing up because they know that this has got to be addressed.
So Kate M says Sterling seemed to be onto something. Did anyone watch his video? He mentioned NATO, and in the past said some government agencies were working on decertification. Now I have watched Sterling, and I did hear him talk about decertification.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I thought he meant something else, and then I went back to it and I thought, well, no, he means decertification. And he has seen that. And he's also told us over and over again, it takes time and be patient. But, in my logical mind, I'm thinking, well, Biden's out, Harris is out, Trump is in, so that there's no, how can you go back in time? Well,
Yeah.
this might be the thing that happens that we've never seen before, that we can, because it doesn't fit into any laws we've ever heard of before, that we could suddenly go back. I don't know exactly what it means, but he's been pretty consistent with that same thought about declassification. So maybe, we just have to wait and see what happens. But I am waiting for something big to happen that at least changes. It changes the atmosphere. It changes a lot. I don't know that it takes Trump out or anything like that, but it just changes how we perceive this thing. And I don't know how it would work. After he's already been inaugurated, that you could come in and go, oh, now you're decertified. I don't know that could happen, but that is something that Sterling has talked about.
Yeah, I heard that too. And I feel the same way you do. I don't know how with Trump in power, I don't know how an act of decertification could be accomplished. I mean, again, it just wouldn't be allowed. So again, it's just got to be some sort of mind-blowing miracle kind of action. If that's going to happen,
Yeah.
it's just like,
I'm not saying that is going to happen. I'm saying he says that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, he said it's going to happen. And I guess if you believe in your angels, I guess it's time to pray to them and tell them that that's what you want to have happen. I'm serious. I think that, prayer is a really good thing to do. But also visualizing what you want to see is an even better thing to do. You don't have to visualize the mechanics of how it gets there, but visualizing what you want to see is a really good thing to do.
Well, and I know that so many people are going to be just totally confused and upset about what has happened. And you need to look at the good things and stop focusing on what you're stuck with. Start looking for, basically, I'm a big gratitude freak.
Mm-hmm.
Put gratitude into how you're feeling today, and be thankful for what you do have, and don't worry so much about what's going on in the politics, because that would just make you crazy, bring you down, and just not a good energy to be on. So in order to clearly see what's going on, it's just be thankful and focus on yourself. Pay more attention to yourself instead of what might or might not happen. We know, well, the worst has happened. The worst has happened. So we know that's what we have to deal with. However, many people are feeling very calm and almost accepting of this. Like, yeah, okay, that happened. No biggie. And you know that it is a big deal, but it feels like, oh, well, something else will happen too. So I'm just worried about everybody out there that's going to be, when you get a little too obsessive about this, it can take over your life, your thinking. And that's exactly what Trump has been doing all along. So just whatever you've been doing before this, keep doing it, because you don't have to take it all. You don't have to sit there and try to think, oh, what's going to happen if I lose my Social Security? What's going to happen if I can't pay for my groceries because it's so sky high in price? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Don't go there. Just know that whatever you've gotten and done so far, it's something to be thankful for. And if you really want to stretch it, we should be thankful for what is happening, because I think that whatever is happening now is something that pays off in the end. That's totally different than how it looks right now. Nothing is what it seems, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's very much, I would agree with that completely. Nothing is as it seems.
I agree.
And once Neptune moves out of Pisces at the end of March, a whole bunch of the gaslighting burns off for well and good.
Mm-hmm. And possibly the ability for people to see what was already in the reports, because so many reports will have been in by then. Possibly we would see volume 2 of Jack Smith's report about documents, and that just puts together a much larger case about treason, espionage, literally high crimes. So yeah. So go ahead.
And Lisa on the chat section says it's best not to give any false hopes. And I absolutely agree. I hope you don't think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not. And none of us are. We're not giving you any false hopes. We're just exchanging ideas about what we've been through and what the energy feels like right now. And I'm telling you, the energy last week felt totally different than it does right now.
Yeah.
But it's not as oppressive as I would have thought that it would be. I really thought that I'd just be like, oh my God, I don't even want to get out of bed now. I don't even want to deal with this. I don't feel like that at all. I just feel like this is something we have to go through. And, maybe down the line, we'll find out what that's all about. I don't know. But no false hopes. I'm not saying suddenly things change. He's out of office, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't see that.
Pushback does get somewhere. People are saying Trump will block everything. Well, maybe he'll try, but pushback gets places.
Yeah.
Pushback gets places. So, I have my senators, I have my reps' phone numbers in my contact list. Previous administration, I was calling on nearly a daily basis. Start doing that.
Yeah. That's what they're there for. They're there to hear your worries, concerns, complaints, and they're supposed to act on them. I mean, of course they want to do what the majority of their constituents want, but they won't know what that is unless you call and let them know, or write them and let them know.
Somebody here, Paul Katz, he makes a very good point. He says, I don't think it's false hope. What bothers me is the idea that I can't trust my instincts or intuition, especially since I feel so calm. Now,
yes.
That was one of the first things you see him getting inaugurated, and you're like, boy, this is not how I thought this was going to go. And it does make you second guess what you were hearing from your guides. But keep in mind, the energy around this has been so erratic. I mean, all 2024, and we've just been kind of entrenched in this whole business about what's going to happen with the presidency and stuff. So in that case, you need to move away from it. You need to just get away from it. Don't think about it for a while. and just, give your mind a chance to relax, and know that for the most part, what you heard yesterday, and then you held on to it, and now you know today that doesn't apply. That's okay. It's hard to keep up with this kind of energy. It's hard to keep up. It doesn't mean that you didn't hear it right. It just means that it changed. And it's frustrating, but that's what happens all the time. So,
Well, I think in 2024 and now 2025, it happens all the time. But up until then, it didn't happen all the time. And that's what I think throws everybody. This is unusual. Having timelines and energy shifts that are this drastic and dramatic is very unusual. And so give yourself a break. Yes, what you felt, what you intuited at that moment, that you could trust that in that moment. But I guess if you can feel into, is the energy the same or is the energy changed now, for that particular thing? I think you have to check in.
I think what Paul was saying, though, is that he had some ideas about how things were going to go. They didn't go that way. But now why does he feel so calm?
Well,
exactly.
Exactly. But here's the thing, too, about you thought things were going to go a certain way and you felt calm. Well, sometimes things will go that way, but you have to be very, very patient, that it's going to take a while. And sometimes things do change, and maybe the outcome is going to be the same, but the way they get there is going to be different. So I also think it's important to understand that we live in kind of fluid situations. The energy affects things. People have free will. And it doesn't mean that your intuition is just wrong. It just means that you need to keep on using your intuition to feel into what else might be happening. Cleo for president, I agree 100%. Yes, you should be president, Cleo.
There's a comment I agree with completely, and I'd like to read it. I'm going to mispronounce your name, Alcia Rosia. The strangeness is a clue. The not making sense is a clue. This is not over. I think it is a dark op, highly coordinated with NATO. This had to go on today for some reason. I 100% agree.
Wow. Yes.
Why would we all be so calm? Why? And it's not that, I've double checked this with other people. It's not that I have my head up my posterior. No, I have had this level of calm since November. There might have been one or two moments of weepiness of, oh God, no, from the ongoing trauma that we've been through. We don't have PTSD to my thinking. We're in persistent traumatic stress. But again, another thing I say all the time is do not bet against a Scorpio in a cage match. You cannot tell me that a man who dedicated 50 years of his life to this country walked out without some mechanism in place. He and Harris were talking to world leaders the 2 weeks before they left office. She was talking to what vice president? The prime minister of Germany, the premier of Germany, has a conversation with them. That does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a persistent message across all levels of, let's just call it psychic world, has been, it's not going to happen the way we think. It's not going to come from the way we think. It's going to be unprecedented, and it will be of a magnitude that even those who suck up to him in a large percentage are going to go, oh, okay. So we don't have the perspective to see it, and that I trust. I get questioning your, it's important to trust your intuition. And when things happen that make you question it, then, at that I get wondering, like, have I gone crazy? What is going on? But there is a group intuition melding that's been going on for months. We're on to something. We are on to something.
Yes. Yes, I think
So,
so.
so yeah, take full advantage of that calm stuff, because that tells me that spirit is with all of us and just saying, you don't need to, you don't need to start falling to your knees and start crying or anything, because spirit is still working on this. It isn't a done deal, but I hate to say that because that makes it sound like something fantastic is going to happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
Well, wouldn't you agree, Cleo, that something is going to happen?
Oh, yeah.
It may take 3 months or more. I mean, Lori from the Way of Positive Change keeps saying that she had a dream last August 16th, where she was told in no uncertain terms that we are going to have a year of this. Now, I don't want to believe that, but maybe it takes a year to smooth everything out and to get all the decisions made and to repair any damage that is done, yada, yada, yada. But I think with what's going on astrologically in March, I think it's safe to assume that something will be known or changed at around that time frame. Maybe not resolved. And here's the thing too, and I've said this before, that as humans, we want things to be nice and tidy. We want to know. We don't like uncertainty. We want to know what's going to happen, and we want to know exactly how it's going to happen. And with what we're dealing with on 2 levels, on a psychic intuitive level and on a Trump level, you're just not going to have that. Whatever does play out, it's probably not going to be exactly the way we intuit or you intuit or some other psychic intuits, because it's extraordinary and because that's life. It just doesn't go that way. It just doesn't get tied up with a nice, neat little bow. It just doesn't. And so understand that although we can say things and maybe we can say things kind of simply or express them to you in kind of easy to understand bitelets, life is messy and things like this are very, very messy. So no, it's not going to be just, oh, March and then they'll inaugurate Kamala. That's not reality. But things could really change by March and things could be really different by March. And we might have a glimmer of what is going to be coming down the pike by March. And then who knows? I mean, it could be resolved in March. I don't know. But it's just not going to be easy, wrapped up in a nice little bow and easy to explain. It's just not.
No, it's not, especially when you talk in terms of Kamala still being in the White House. I'm kind of dismissing that whole thought right now because logically, it doesn't make sense. Logically, if something happens to Trump, it will be Vance. We don't want either one of those. But like I said, something is happening that we haven't seen yet that's very different, very unusual. And I don't know that it means anything for Kamala Harris, but it definitely means something for us and how we are, who our leader is and how that's all going to work out. So, and also in watching Trump today, his health does not look good. He doesn't look happy. He doesn't look healthy. He's not smiling. Usually he's the kind of guy that, especially at this point, this is the biggest thing ever, his second inauguration. He should be happy as hell. He loves to smile with those big fake cap teeth and stuff that he's got going on. And, and he thinks he's just God's gift. What is going on with him? Something's not quite right. And, we have talked before about that if he got in, that they just wanted to get him in long enough to make sure he got the presidency, and then they could put Vance in there and they could control Vance like a little puppet. And I just, God, I don't see Vance getting in there, but in the meantime, how much damage will Trump do between now in February, now in March, now in April. I mean, he could do irreparable harm, but we don't want to focus on that. Whatever, whatever comes down the pike, we can all handle it. We can handle this. If we
Yeah.
don't like it, it's not fun. But one way or another, because that's just the way people are. We're survivors. We're going to know how to get around this and stuff. Where Sherry was just telling us that the price of eggs were $6 a dozen or something, and that they hadn't even had eggs around Louisiana or wherever she's at for a while. So, yeah, that's a ridiculous price. But if you have to have some eggs, you're going to figure out how to get it. And it won't be by robbing a bank. It'll be you'll figure it out.
Your neighbors who have a chicken, something.
Or maybe buy a chicken. Go get a chicken.
Not a crazy idea today.
I mean, no, that's just the kind of, the workaround. I want eggs. They're too expensive. Buy a chicken. Buy 2 chickens.
I was going to say, you probably need a couple chickens, yeah.
In a chicken coop. That's what my neighbor did.
If you buy a chicken, then you need a hen house. You buy a hen house and you have cold weather, then you need a heater.
Well,
he built water in there.
Hen house, and yes, it's all heated. And
you need some straw for them to walk around in. You need a little place for them to walk around where they won't get attacked by the birds and foxes and things like that. So, yeah, there's a little investment there.
Well, somebody said, where'd it go? It's going away. Hold on here a minute. She said, it doesn't seem that simple, but everyone doesn't have that fortune. Well, no, that you've got to be creative. You've got to think outside the box. Just how do you get what you want when it's not readily available, or when it costs too much, or the rent goes sky high. People figure out a way. They figure out a way how to do it. And so,
yeah. And if you're not a part of a little tribe, a little family, a little community, get one. Participate in humanity. Don't be a loner.
Don't let politics, don't let the president of the United States control your happiness, control your life, because, it is what it is right now. Right now, we are stuck with that. So rather than, just accept it.
So for the comment that's on the screen, it's what you think it is. But we all know that in order for things to change, something very drastic to happen. Yeah, but are we going to make that drastic thing happen? Are you going to make that drastic thing happen? No, but what you can do is the stuff that we're talking about. You can take care of yourself. You can take care of your family. You can maybe enlarge your circle of friends so you can depend on one another for food, for sharing meals, for sharing lots of stuff, maybe moving in together. But also you can visualize a positive picture for the future. You can not focus on the current new administration. You can focus on what could be and really visualize that. Visualization and intention are very powerful, especially when large groups of people do it. And they don't always have to visualize exactly the same thing, but if just roughly we're all envisioning a future where Dumpy is no longer in the White House, that's pretty powerful. And then go, borrow some eggs from your neighbor,
Well, yeah, but you look at the negative. The negative is very powerful too. And you want to try to get away from that.
Yeah.
Because it just screws up everything, how your thinking goes and how the kind of changes. Your hope is diminished when you've got all that negative stuff. And Trump, my God, that man is the most negative thing I've ever seen. And it was from the beginning, and a part of me wonders, why did half I know it was stolen, but why did half the country supposedly vote for him? Let's say that it wasn't, say there was no interference, and all these people are backing him up, and you see all the other Republicans backing him up in the lie and stuff. I'm thinking, why would you want that? Why do you want somebody that wants to create conflict with Greenland of all places, and the Panama Canal, and all of these things.
That wasn't part of his campaign. That was revealed afterwards.
True.
That was not part of his campaign. His campaign was immigrants are doing horrible things. Immigrants are doing horrible things, and stoking hate. And I'm going to take issue. It was not half of the country that voted for him. It was actually a very small percentage. Most people didn't vote, and there were certain media channels that did not report positively on anything that the Biden administration did, and gave this guy a huge pass on all of the weird stuff he was doing in public. So people got their media diet, changed their thinking about things. I know completely rational people who don't see anything wrong with January 6th. Like, oh, it's just a few people, like what did you not see it? Apparently they didn't, because their information sources didn't show it to them. So there have been disinformation campaigns, whatever you want to call it, going through mainstream media that has played into this. And how the hell do you counteract that?
Yeah, good
if
point.
They don't,
very good point.
How do you counteract?
That is definitely a problem, that people believe that and they stick with it, and you can't, since Trump has been campaigning since the day he went into office, since 2016, he's constantly campaigning, and he's lying to everybody. You can't imagine the number of lies. They're just, ongoing, not true information. And
right.
Well, this is a Neptune and Pisces problem. All right. We've just been in a decade plus of maximum gaslighting. Maximum gaslighting. And we are going to marinate in this at the end of March. There's a pileup of planets at the end of Pisces, with Neptune's swan song in its sign just before it moves. Done with the Democrats? I don't know. I don't think, well, you're free to do whatever you want, but I don't blame the Democrats for this. I think it is a bigger thing. And if you've got most of the media outlets not saying what your people are doing, is that your problem? Is that your fault? If someone is losing words on stage and dancing and saying nonsense and none of it's being called out in the media, but your guy bumbles a word, oh my God, he's so old.
True. And then for Zuckerberg to say, well, we're not going to fact check anything anymore, like that was a good thing to say.
He's actually been on record as saying that when you look at the facts, they support one ideology. So we're not going to check like that, like fact-based. Okay, whatever. Do I think all the Democrats have been threatened? No, but I do think threatening is part of what has brought a lot of people in line. It's been, you have to remember that T had as a mentor a man named Roy Cohn, who worked with Joe McCarthy, and that was abuse the legal system, abuse the process, accuse people nonstop, be a bulldog, and
ruin their careers and ruin their reputations. So they can't work. They're afraid of everything coming out, and they're totally going to do that. That's why Joe Biden pardoned everybody.
Right, not because they violated the law, but because he had to admit to himself, these people are going to do this. Yeah, their lives could be ruined, and so what are we really trying to get people to know here? What do we want them to know? Trust your gut. Focus on the moment. At the moment, you have a roof over your head. At the moment, you are safe. At the moment, you probably have food in your refrigerator. At the moment, you have a way to get in touch with your family and with the people you care about. Just keep it in the moment. And I would encourage regularly envisioning protective light, angels, whatever you want, over DC, over your town, over your house, over Congress. I stationed, it's got an angel right there. I stationed Archangel Michael in the middle of the White House and in the Capitol earlier this week. Fine, just keep fueling the grid, fueling a light grid. And that's my soapbox.
Yeah, that's a good one. I second
really
that.
good.
I second
Really
that.
good.
Protect yourself with white light all the time. Protect others that you love. Protect the government. Do all of those things. And visualize the future that you want. Visualize, visualize, visualize. Meditate. If you're anxious about things, meditate. It helps calm you down. It literally lowers your blood pressure. It's really good for your body. It's really good for your health in general. And it will calm you down. You'll sleep better. So, maybe this is a great time to take up meditation, because if you watch media, legacy media, you're probably going to get more anxious. If you watch things like this, you might not get so anxious. And there's lots of things on YouTube where there's good news that you can get. There's a lot of right-wing stuff too, but try to focus on things that are more positive. Butterflies, unicorns, rainbows, puppies, kittens. I love watching those videos about dogs. Like, there's one guy I subscribe to. He goes into the dog shelters it's in somewhere in California. I think it's around San Diego. And, he goes to the troubled dogs that seem really, really scared or barking too much. And he calms them down, and he turns them into adoptable dogs just by being nice to them. I love watching his videos. It's very calming. It's very zen. So
somebody over here says, my guides are liars, so I don't have any guides now to do anything with. I'm firing my guides, going out of business. From Aspie Third Eye, that's who said that.
yeah,
And
I
I'm
saw
thinking,
that.
it's okay to feel that way for a minute. Actually, this morning I went through I had my own little hissy fit with my guides, and they're so used to me doing this kind of stuff that it's almost laughable. But it's not just your guides. It's what you hear, that you think you hear, that you might have gotten wrong. It's also the energy that changes so fast, particularly in this particular situation. It has just changed. Some days it's like minute for minute. I mean, I can't believe it. I've never experienced anything quite this erratic, so weirdly like this. And so you have a tendency to you get something, and maybe you get it several times, and so you hold on to that, and then all of a sudden it changes, and so you try to adapt, and finally you say, screw it, I'm sticking with what I thought in the first place. But the energy changed, and so did the outcome.
You go, Marlo. She's got her weed and she's good.
Me too.
There you go. Just
it helps a lot.
And speaking of humor, we could all talk about Melania. She
looked lovely in that hat and stuff.
But she's wearing black to an inauguration.
Well, and did you see when her husband tried to give her a little kiss on the cheek? They never made it. They were like still this far apart.
Oh my God.
She kept moving in, and she just kept like moving back.
God.
But I thought she had a cool outfit.
That hat, though, was like, you couldn't see her eyes. All you saw was her just big shit-eating grin whenever she smiled, and her teeth, those veneers, were so blindingly white. It's just like this big under the hat brim. I thought that was funny.
But I think she did that on purpose. I don't think she wanted to, look at anybody directly in the eye, except Brandon or whatever. Barron. That's his name.
Barron. Yeah. So, and then Hillary Clinton, when she gets out of the car, says, "Oh, it's such a nice, beautiful, sunny day." Like, what the fuck are we doing going inside? It's such a nice day. But I still don't know why.
It was kind of weird. There has been many inaugurations that were held in even colder days than this, but
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
you know,
And by the way, it wasn't Trump's decision to go inside. I saw that announcement 2 days before Trump said anything. That was the inauguration committee.
well, I think they were trying to keep people safe, and it is a weird Arctic blast that you're going through over on the East Coast and stuff. So I guess, you know, it could have gotten worse. It's been pretty cold here too, but not like that.
I just thought it was a way to reduce the size of the crowd, to contain things in case anything got weird. Everybody'd be inside, so military, Secret Service, whatever, would have an easier time of containing people if there was any kind of outbreaks, because I think they were a little afraid of that. That's just my 2 cents worth. Yeah, exactly. JFK gave his speech and his inauguration with no coat on in 20-degree weather. I know. It's like, what a wuss. But again, I think.
Well, you know, all the kazoo players were out of earshot. I'm serious. There were people with all kinds of noisemakers that were going to do stuff.
Yeah. Well, did you see the protests? There were big protests in DC going on the whole time of the inauguration.
You know, and God knows how many people that did go are going to go home and get COVID. I mean, it just, you know, there was just all these people crammed into that little space. Not one mask, which doesn't surprise me, but yeah, I just saw it as a petri dish for COVID right there in the rotunda or whatever it's called.
Oh, anti-Trump protests sweep the globe on Inauguration Day.
Oh,
not just U.S., but oh God, that's an ugly picture. Or maybe I'll share this. Maybe we can end on this beautiful thing.
Well, that should make everybody feel better when you got the whole world protesting. It doesn't change it, but at least you got a whole bunch of other people that feel like you do.
Can you see that? Isn't that awful? Yeah, crazy. I wonder if there's more stuff.
That's very flattering.
Here's another picture. End all U.S. aid to Israel. U.S. out of Korea. Shut down anti-migrant Laken-Riley Act. This was New York. This was Mexico City. Oh, I think that used to be a thing of Trump. Look at that. They're hitting him like a piñata. Wow. Wow. This was London. No to racism. No to Trump. Wow. Climate disaster. Wow. Here is another one from London. It's got refugees welcome home. Open the borders. Oh my God. Here is Panama City, Panama. Ooh, burning American flags. Ouch. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't blame you guys. I would too. This guy's a disaster. What else we got here? Here's Brussels. Dump Trump, change the world. I agree with that. I like that. I want that sign. That's very pretty. And this is from, this is in DC. Oh God. Wow, they really hate him. And another one from Mexico City. What are they burning? Burning a piñata, the piñata that we saw in the other Mexico City picture. Wow. Another one in London. Dump Trump, dump Trump, dump Trump. Fight bigotry. What's this one? Another one in Washington, D.C. Thank you, beautiful fan. What is this saying? A counter-protester protests the Proud Boys as they assemble outside during Trump's inauguration in Washington, D.C. I didn't know that they assembled. Wow. And what's this? A protester shouts slogans against Trump's policies in New York. Get it off your chest, honey. A person offers a hopeful message at an anti-Trump protest in New York. See, a better world is possible. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I did not realize that was all over the world.
Well, and the stuff that he said in his little speech where he's talking about, you know, boys are boys and girls are girls. I'm like, really? This is coming up on this during the inauguration? It's been so stupid and unfortunate that this is the Trump administration going so far backwards and thinking that and going down to Florida with that DeSantis guy talking about transgender people and stuff. I'm just like, what are they doing? They're doing nothing that affects anybody else. It has nothing to do with any of us.
Less than 1% of the population. And this
Yeah,
is what
and the government chooses to, or Trump at least chooses to pick on that, and so does that idiot down in Florida. It's just amazing to me that they're even bringing it up, like, and they actually, when he said that, it actually got cheers.
Yeah. Well, that's why he does it. He does it so that he gets, accolades from his base, and he riles up people like us and makes us angry. So that's why he does it. That's what he's getting.
And it worked. It worked. It totally pissed me off.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
Yes, we did see this.
Oh, yeah. He is, wow. I mean, is he single-handedly bringing the Nazi party to the United States of America and all over the world? I mean,
well, he supports it in Germany, and some people from it came to today's event.
Yep, so he is. Okay, very good. The Wax Museum here in Texas last year removed the T figure. People kept punching it. So, I mean, this is such a vanity project. Like, he really isn't well liked. It's clear that he is not well liked. It's clear that he was not voted in by a landslide. It's just, I don't know. He's so delusional. Maybe he won't live long. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to mute myself. Everyone should do what the 92% of Black women are doing, on vacation for the next 4 years.
Good plan.
I think that's
very smart. Mind your own business. Take care of what you can do. And, interesting comment, Jazzy Sophie. Kamala knows who is controlled. She's no fool. You can see it on her face. I want you to think back to all the appearances in the past 2 weeks of both Biden and Harris. They did not have the energy of people going away. She did not have the energy of people going away. Now, maybe there was a plan that got detoured at the last minute because there were some strange things that were said and some expectations that were raised, but she's still not acting like somebody who is a bingo. She's not acting like somebody who's slinking away at all.
This morning on the go ahead.
I was going to say, claim your own power and take care of what you can.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This morning on the, I watched this on, I don't know, probably like ABC or NBC or something like that. And the statement was, what are Kamala's plans? Oh, she's going to go home and write a book. And I'm like,
she's getting $40 million for that book. $40 million. Are you, I heard that on TV. Yes.
Well, good for her. Good for her. I don't believe that she's getting 40 million, and I don't believe she's writing a book. I think she's doing other things, but that's just me.
Well, it's not her going to actually write the book. It'll be somebody else, but it's her. It's, she'll have somebody else do the actual work. But on the other hand, don't buy that damn book. Don't buy it. Let the publisher eat $40 million. Who in the hell?
No, Kamala is writing.
We're talking about Malay or the wife.
No. I thought that's what you thought. No. Kamala. They said,
I did hear.
Okay, good, because they said, well, Kamala's going to go home and write a book, and I thought, not on your life. That's a great cover story. but that is not what's happening.
Well, I don't know. The attorneys are great writers. I read all their books.
Yeah, well, but I think
No.
she got other things to do. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I think
no,
she does.
yes, Melania
No, but
Melania got
wait a
paid. And do you know what that was for, though? That was so that they could give money to the Trumps.
Oh, for the okay. Well, either
That
way,
was
I
that
just-
was just like Bezos and Zuckerberg giving, millions to the
million.
inauguration thing. That's what that was all about. And then they had to actually go through with it. And Melania also has an ego, also a narcissist, just didn't mind the attention. But did you see what happened with the Bitcoin market today?
Oh, it's hanked, isn't it?
Yes, pretty much fell off the face of the earth. And what did Melania announce, I think yesterday? Her own Bitcoin.
Her own coin.
So, like, are you kidding me? Like, these people are such grifters and just like that's all that they're about. But I do think, and I have reluctantly come around to this, that the whole idea of how the base and his supporters have to just get good and sick of him and really see what he's about, and really the emperor has no clothes. They have to come around to that understanding that he's not going to fight for them. He doesn't give a shit about them. He's not going to protect them. He's not good for this country. He's only good for the billionaires and the techno bros and himself and maybe Barron, maybe. And so once they really start to get a taste of what life is going to be like with him at the helm, they're going to turn on him. And that part needs to at least start, I think, before the country gives him up. And I think that's why the times shifted. I think that's why things changed, because we were pretty strongly seeing that nobody was seeing him in the White House. He's in the White House. Nobody was seeing the inauguration going through. The inauguration went through. So something else, I mean, yes, the country needs to learn something from this. And there could also be some other Black Ops things going on in the background, but it's all kind of dovetailing together. And so it's complicated. It's just very complicated.
And but you're right. Everybody did, well, most, 90% at least saw that there was a lot going on with that he wouldn't be in the White House, that Kamala would, that he would not be inaugurated. And I saw him being arrested and everything. And when it all came down to it, I was like, wow, boy, was I off. But it was the energy at that point in time, because by the time it got to the day, I started spirit was getting a little quieter, and that's usually a signal for me, but I was so engrossed in this whole thing, I missed it. But yeah, it just something switched very rapidly, and that it can happen again. That term, it can change on a dime. I mean, and it did. That's exactly what happened.
Right. I still think that a lot of the things that we saw, a lot of them, maybe not all of them, are still going to happen. I still think that NATO and the ICC are going to be very much involved with that, but I don't understand a time frame at all. I'm not going to even try to claim one, because I don't feel that I can, but I do feel that those things are going to happen. And I gotta say,
somebody was talking about, I did screw that up about, I thought you were talking about Mrs. Trump writing a book, not Kamala.
Right. Yeah. Kamala's not getting $40 million.
The Trump woman is getting $40 million in advance for her book. Unheard of.
No, for her story.
Oh, just for her story.
Yes, Amazon Prime is going to stream it. They're not even going to own it. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Well, I want to throw one last thing out before we go, and that is note: Trump is throwing Musk under the bus.
Ooh, I love that.
He's doing this. There's a reason he's doing this. He's mentioning him. Just watch.
Wow.
Okay.
Whatever comes from is going to involve Musk.
Okay. Well, everybody, we've been on about an hour, and so I think we're going to call it. But we have another PoliTarology scheduled for this Friday, I believe, don't we? Or don't we? Am I wrong? When's the next one? Hang on. Now I feel crazy because I just don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't. Right, you know, you were trying to narrow it down to one a month, and this.
Oh yeah, it's not this Friday. It's no, it's not this Friday. But if we need to do something this Friday, if something happens, we'll come back and we'll try to do what we can do.
I think we should think about that. That'd be a good idea because
Really?
might change. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Kathy, you're welcome to come. I know you have a busy schedule and you'll have to consult your schedule and figure out what's going on.
I'll look at it.
And Sherry, who has been so kind to be backstage and handling all the chat and starring things and putting things up on the screen. Thank you so much, Sherry. I really appreciate that. And the same goes for you. If you are available, I would love to have you. And I love that I don't have to pay people to do this. This is great. Okay. Just want to say, everybody stay calm and, eat your Wheaties. Well, if you're gluten-free, you can't eat Wheaties like me, but, and if you're lactose intolerant, you can't have the milk. So just eat whatever's healthy, but be in touch with your angels, practice gratitude, visualize a beautiful future, be good to yourself, practice self-care, meditate, and, we're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay.
We're going to be fine.
We're going to be fine. Even with the dumpy in the White House temporarily. Okay. All right. So that's it, guys. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.